Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So the Orlando Magic have historically been a fairly bad team. They had their years with Shaq and Penny Hardaway, or Anthony Hardaway, however you want to call him. Then also they had Dwight Howard in his prime, one of the best, if not the best centers of the entire NBA in those few short seasons. He even led them to the finals, breaking up any opportunity for us to have a LeBron-Kobe matchup. So the Magic teams were pretty good. They gave us some very, very memorable guys such as Hedo Turkoglu. They gave us guys that have been very entertaining to watch. Jameer Nelson comes to mind. Guys like that grew up as Magic players. You never really expected to see them in another jersey, and while maybe they have done that or did do that through the later years of their career, they had their best times in Orlando. But in recent years, it has been very difficult for Magic fans to even watch the games. They've been a bad team for probably about 6-7 years now, maybe a playoff appearance, but nothing any more than the first round at best. And it's kind of entertaining to see how quickly they've become a better team. Coming into last season, 2021-2022, it seemed to me that they had one major issue holding them back, and that was the fact that they have so many good guards. Obviously, you want to have good guards. You know, you want to have guys that can play well, and when a guy goes down, you need to have a backup that's good. If he goes down, you have a backup that's good. But the Magic just have so many good guys at the point guard and shooting guard position. With Cole Anthony, you know, you have RJ Hampton, who is still, in my opinion, has so much potential to be a great player in the NBA. You've got Markelle Fultz, and then they come out and they draft Jalen Suggs last season. Last draft, they had other options, and I was honestly pretty, confused why they ended up selecting Jalen Suggs, because it was kind of an interesting selection. You know, he did seem like a pretty good NBA-ready prospect coming from college, but at the end of the day, they didn't need him at all. Obviously, they did end up getting Franz Wagner and that same exact draft, and he turned out to be a very, very good rookie. He was actually in the running for Rookie of the Year a little bit there at the end of the season, but Jalen Suggs is an interesting prospect that I do still think can be good, and a lot of media outlets have him starting at shooting guard this year. He struggled with his finishing. He's not the best shooter. Defensively, he's okay. He just is all around an average player. He has a lot of room to improve. I like his height for a point guard. I don't really like him at the shooting guard, and I like his mobility a lot. I feel like his speed is very good for a point guard, but I don't like him as a shooting guard. And if they start him there, I feel like that might stunt his growth. But nevertheless, they still have two other guards that have to be figured out. Markelle Fultz is a guy that was drafted number 1 overall. He came into the league. He was supposed to be that guy for Philadelphia out of Washington, but obviously, injuries with his shoulder. We remember his shooting motion where he did that. I mean, he just has had such a rough start to his career, and he has slowly but surely become a guy that, in my opinion, is finally coming into his own. He looks like he can maybe take a massive leap this season. He looks like he could be ready to become what we expected him to be. Maybe he's not going to be that number 1 overall pick. Maybe he's not going to be the greatest point guard in the NBA, but I believe that he can have a very, very solid NBA career as a starting point guard, and maybe even a starting point guard on contending teams. And then finally, last but definitely not least, Cole Anthony, a guy that I'm a huge fan of, son of former point guard Greg Anthony. He played for the Grizzlies most notably, and as we all know, he is an analyst / commentator nowadays. But Cole Anthony is a guy that really, out of these three names, was probably the one that should not have succeeded. He was the later pick. He wasn't a hyped up guy. He wasn't expected to be this big starting point guard for the Magic, and out of the three, so far, he has looked like the best guy, especially on offense. He's offensively just a great weapon. His three-point shooting is very good. For his size, his driving and paint game is actually very decent, and he's an okay facilitator. His playmaking isn't at the level that you would want it to be as far as a starting point guard, but I do still like his playmaking for a guy that wasn't drafted super high in the draft. At the end of the day, though, we have to make I'm not part of the Magic, I'm a Bucks fan, but the Magic have to make a decision soon, because RJ Hampton, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, and Markelle Fultz are all going to want a good amount of money, and this team is set up perfectly. They just need to get rid of one or two of these guys and maybe even be able to keep three of them. And in my opinion, Markelle Fultz is likely the one that needs to go out of the four. I think he has a lot of potential, but compared to the other three, Jalen Suggs hasn't proved much, but he's only going into his second season after a rough rookie year. I think his sophomore season can be a little bit better, at least, quality minutes wise. I think he's going to play as a higher quality guy. He's going to be more efficient. It's a lot harder on guys than we actually think it is when you go into the NBA as a rookie. You go from the top guy in college to basically the last man on your roster because, everybody's fast, everybody's strong. So it's a different experience in the NBA, and I hate to call a rookie a bust, and I hate when people do that. So I think Jalen Suggs still has a lot of gas left in the tank. I know he can improve off of last year. I know he can come into his sophomore season and play well. And then when you look at RJ Hampton, he hasn't had much opportunity to be that guy. And his intangibles and the way he plays, the way he carries himself, I think he can be. I know the Denver Nuggets gave up on him early, trading him for Aaron Gordon right near the draft. And I think he has a lot of potential to be that guy, even at the small forward position. He's a little bit taller for a point guard, so they have been running him at shooting guard some. And Cole Anthony obviously has been the starting point guard of all of these guys, or out of this entire group, for at least last season for the most part. So Markelle Fultz is a guy that, while he has a lot of potential left in his tank, I think he has to be traded out of this group of 4 point guards. And it's an interesting idea to talk about where he could be traded to, what the Magic could get in return. And I don't think the market is quite as high as they would like it to be. I think it's going to be maybe a pick and a player. I don't think there's going to be no superstar in return, obviously. Markelle Fultz is a young guy, but he's injury prone. He has had issues with his shooting. He's had issues with training across his career. I think the Magic moving Fultz now is the best opportunity they're going to have. But at the end of the day, I don't think no matter what happens, they're going to get a ton in return for him. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what the Magic can do with Markelle Fultz. I know this group of guys, they probably are good friends. They have a lot of minutes played together. I just know that the Magic are going to have to move somebody, and Jalen Suggs can't go in his sophomore season unless it's for a very, very good player. And Cole Anthony is going to be a guy that is probably a starting point guard for the next few years, or for the foreseeable future for the Orlando Magic. So it's a decision between RJ Hampton and Markelle Fultz, and when you take it into that account, RJ Hampton is probably going to cost less. He has less value, so you're going to get more for Fultz, and you're going to pay less for RJ Hampton. So Markelle Fultz is most likely the answer to trade away out of that guard situation. Now, saying all this, I want to talk about the Orlando Magic as a team. Now, we all know they've been a rebuilding team for the past few seasons. They haven't really even sniffed the play-in tournament. They've been a very, very bad team for a while. You have good guys on there with, Terrence Ross has been a good role player. They had Evan Fournier. He played well. Elfrid Payton, Victor Oladipo, Nikola Vucevic had an all-star season for the Magic. And Aaron Gordon, he was pretty good too. He never really reached his peak that he should have, but he was still a quality player. Overall, though, their rosters have never been good enough to make a playoff push or a play-in appearance. And today, or this season, I am here to say that this could very much change. I love the way this roster is built with Cole Anthony. You've got Jalen Suggs. You've got Jonathan Isaac, Wendell Carter, Mo Bamba, Franz Wagner, Markelle Fultz, RJ Hampton, Terrence Ross. This team is extremely, extremely deep, and I would not be shocked if they come out and they make a play-in, at least a play-in appearance or a playoff appearance. This team has a lot of the right tools. They have a lot of the right pieces, and if they just combine them the right way from defense to offense, the Magic could make a little bit of noise. Not this year, maybe a deep run, but in the next few seasons, these young guys are only going to get better. If you maybe trade Terrence Ross to a contending team and get young pieces back to grow with your roster, the Magic could be a franchise that is ready to take over the NBA. How are you guys feeling about the Magic roster? This video is just a little bit of a rant video. I've been thinking about their roster for a while now, and all of this is talking about the roster without even speaking about Paolo Banchero. That guy looks like he is going to be the next big thing. Don't even get me started on him as a rookie. Paolo Banchero looks like he could be the best rookie in the draft. He was very impressive in his summer league minutes. I think he has an opportunity this year. He's going to come in and start. Obviously, Jonathan Isaac hasn't played in a few years from injuries, or really he has played, but not quality minutes since he went down with that ACL tear. As much as that hurts to say, I like him as a guy and a player, but Paolo Banchero is going to come in. He's going to be thrown into that starting lineup. And if you have a Rookie of the Year candidate, if he plays like a Rookie of the Year, you have Franz Wagner, you have Wendell Carter Jr., who in my opinion is still a very underrated center in the NBA. You've got all these pieces, and as I mentioned, you just have, it's like a puzzle. You just have to put them together in the right way. This guy is a very good player coming out of the draft straight into the NBA. He's NBA ready. He can stretch the floor. He can get you rebounds. He's not the greatest defender or rim protector, obviously, at his size, but everything else is high quality with this guy. The Magic are set up for success. Whether now, I think they could surprise a few guys or everyone this year and make an appearance in the playoffs, but if they don't, they are set up perfectly throughout the next few years. They're going to just develop like fine wine. This team has a lot of room for players to develop. They have a lot of room for draft picks in the future to come in and help instantly. I mean, as long as they're able to get these guys ready for the NBA. We don't know exactly how they're going to develop all these guys at the same time, but I think there's a high probability or a high chance that they are going to develop into very good NBA players, each and every one of them. And maybe just one of them has to get traded, as I talked about at the beginning of the video. So let me know down below how you guys are feeling about the Orlando Magic right now. I think they have an opportunity to be one of the better or more sleeper teams in the NBA. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy my content, if you enjoy this type of video. Thank you guys all for watching this video. As always, I will see you guys next time. Peace.